Hello and welcome to Ignite Your Soul Purpose. I'm Leora, your host for this beautiful event. And I have a pleasure today to welcome Dr. Divi Chandna. Hello, Dr. Divi.
Hi, Leora. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here with us. So Dr. Divi is a family physician turned into an intuitive coach and has had many health issues that Dr. Divi will talk through, which using mindfulness, meditation, and yoga, she was able to heal. She is trained as a professional intuitive and teaches classes on intuition and self-healing. Dr. Divi believes that intuition is the most important gift that you can wake up within yourself. This is what we'll talk about today. And also she has been featured on national television and different outlets such as TEDx Stage. So beautiful journey here. So Dr. Divi, if you can kind of tell the audience a little bit about your journey, your journey for you stepping into your soul purpose from becoming an MD to an intuitive coach.
So it was a process, and I'll try to take 30 years and summarize them. Luckily, I became a family doctor quite young and was out working. And then just a few years after I became a doctor, I had everything I wanted. I had my husband of my dreams. I fell in love with my first husband. My career, being a family physician, and was living in Vancouver, had moved out west, had everything I wanted. And then that's around the time that I got quite sick. Chronic pain, anxiety, depression, pain being the worst, food allergies, hives, everything just fell apart. And it was a journey. I didn't approach allopathic medicine at all, mostly because I knew it wouldn't get me anywhere. And so I was just popping a lot of Advil and antihistamines and getting drunk a lot and trying to, self-medicate. And that took me a certain place. But then through yoga and meditation, I would just gradually, incrementally, 1%, 0.5% get better. And I'm a pretty focused person. Long story short, got significantly better, turned to yoga teacher training, decided to open a yoga studio, left my first husband, and then kind of dived into this world of yoga, mindfulness, and meditation. And every time I would do it, my physical symptoms would get better. And as a physician, to have actual physical hives and if you're suffering from depression, anxiety, to get better without was mind-boggling. So that started the last 25 years of a journey for me. And then practicing yoga full-time, teaching yoga full-time, meditating full-time. Around somewhere in there, about 19 years ago now, I got pregnant. And that's when my intuition went right up. And I would just know things. And then sort of over time, I decided to take some intuition trainings. I didn't even know that existed, to be honest. I had no idea. I didn't know people did what I do for work. We're now talking over 18, 19 years ago now. And then about 12, 13 years ago, I started the current business I have now, working as an intuitive coach. So I had done 3 different intuition trainings and then led into the study of energy, shadow. It was just literally what I would say to people is I just trusted my gut, one step to the next. And that's how I got here. And it's kind of crazy. Never intended to. So that's my bit of my journey. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And it sounds like, so when you said that, you were sick and then you started to do yoga and meditation, was it a nudge from inside yourself? Were you following specific speed? Was it something that you was already in your field in terms of yoga, in terms of practice? How did you get those tools to come to you, if that makes sense?
Yeah, it's a great question. So basically I was in chronic pain and I would see massage therapists and chiro and kind of the routine stuff. And I would get a little bit better, but not, and then I'd go backwards. So it was get better, go backwards. It wasn't making sense to me. And I didn't really want to label. If I'd gone to see a physician, I would have been told I had fibromyalgia. I already knew that. I didn't want to go down that path. But then on a recommendation of a massage therapist, she suggested yoga. And it just stuck in my head. I grew up with yoga. Mm-hmm. My mother had us do yoga when we were 6, 7, 8 years old. I hated it. So I resisted it, totally resisted it. And I am talking now 20 something years ago when in Vancouver, if anyone's been to Vancouver, we have a yoga studio every couple blocks. That's Vancouver. Okay. And at the time, there's only 2 studios in all of Vancouver at the time. So, it took a lot for me, but chronic pain will take you places. Chronic pain will go, you will surrender to anything. So that was it was a recurring thought of maybe that'll help, which made sense because stretching might help, right? I was in pain. So yeah, but I was also fighting it. I fought it for months before I went. So yeah.
And do you think, because what I've found as well is for people with chronic pain is usually it's almost like a nudge from the soul, right? It's kind of like the alarm bell. Hey, you need to really get on your path and in your soul purpose. Do you feel that this is the reason why it came into your life?
100%, 100%. I mean, I very much had the trajectory of being a doctor, getting married and popping out kids. My first husband was a doctor. I had the ideal dream for what I wanted when I was 15, right? I wouldn't say that I wasn't happy, but I was happy in situations. I was happy when we traveled. I was happy when we were laughing with our friends. I was happy when I was drunk. But there was, I didn't realize how much guilt and, expectations and like living for other people was running my life. You don't know it until you start doing your work, right? And so I do truly believe that I was led here, no question at all, because I have very much in my mind from being 15, a very different vision of what my life was supposed to be. I have siblings who live that vision. They did exactly what they thought they would do. Or if that makes sense?
No, totally.
Yeah. And I know personally that if I had gone that path, which I was on, I would have stayed in pain. So, it's not always fun being in pain, so I would say.
Totally. And now the pain, is it totally gone?
Yeah, I'm out of pain, and thank God. I mean, the yoga really helped that, and meditation, all that stuff. And I mean, occasionally I'll still have pain, and I'll know exactly what it is. It's like, right, I'm not opening my heart. Right, I'm feeling powerless. And as soon as I shift that emotion, or I'm feeling guilty, that's why my foot hurts right now. Right. And as soon as I shift that emotion, within a few days, it shifts. But it has taken me a while to almost map out my body to say, okay, this occurs. I'll get neck pain when I'm feeling judgmental or stuck or whatever. Yeah. And it's not like, not like it doesn't occur because emotions go like this, right? Mm-hmm. But the more I do my personal work, that's how it works. So, yeah.
And you mentioned as well that your intuition really kicked in after you had your first child. Did you figure out what happened there that basically triggered it?
Right. I sense my intuition's always been there, but because I'm a pretty logical person, I got into medical school when I was 19. I mean, I've got a very strong left brain, very strong thinking, logical brain. But even when I think back to all the times I worked as a physician, it was my intuition, but I didn't know it. Like, it was like, why would I turn to that page in that chart? Why would I say that to a patient? So I realized that my intuition's always been there. But when I got pregnant, a lot of people can relate that during pregnancy, all kinds of crazy stuff happens. My son is highly, highly intuitive. And it was really to wake me up to my gifts, which I already had, but I wasn't using. And it was like, any knife you have in your kitchen drawer, if you're not sharpening it, it becomes dull. So, and it got my intuition, I wouldn't say it got duller and duller, but it was like very infrequent. Right. And, because we all get intuitive nudges, everyone does. And the thing that I do now for work is I've just sharpened my knife every day, and I help other people by using that knife. So, yeah.
And now, would you consider yourself a medical intuitive?
I do practice in medical intuitive. Everyone has a different definition of medical intuition. One of my trainings was medical intuition. It's not the only thing I do, but because some people as clients assume when they come to see medical intuitive, they'll scan your body and tell you, do you have cancer? Do you have this? I don't do that. There's a reason I don't do that. My gifts don't come like that. I don't want my gifts like that. If somebody comes to see me, say with cancer or chronic pain, I want to be able to tell them what the emotion is and thought is and circumstance in their life that's causing it. I don't just want to use my gifts to scan a person and say, this is the problem. That's what MRIs are for. That's what blood tests are for. And there's no judgment here. A lot of intuitives who have that gift, because there are a lot of them out there who say, I can look at your body and tell you this is wrong. They often don't have the gift to say, this is how you shift it. Mm-hmm. I've got the gift to say, this is how you shift it. Does that make sense? So
it's beautiful. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful.
And it's not right, it's just different. So
yeah, it's great how, again, you and that's where you can see where your soul is sending you, right? Because you basically build some skill set as an MD, but now you can also take and merge the two, intuition and your medical skills as well, which is, I always say it's not one or the other. It can be both ends, right? And merging the two.
100%. I agree 100%. Yeah.
Fantastic. And so, if you, as you just talked to us about your journey in terms of awakening your intuition. So for the audience listening, how can they awaken their intuition, and why would they want to do it at this stage in their life, maybe?
So I'll answer the question why first, then I'll tell you how. Why? Because life gets a lot easier. There are a lot of studies out there that say we waste a lot of time. One of the biggest things people complain about is not enough time. Okay. And let's just go through some common examples. You might not buy a house every day, but let's just say you're buying a house or a car or an outfit. Let's just make this up, or dress, a pair of shoes. There's a lot of thinking that goes into it. Studies have shown, this is crazy to think there's actually studies on this, but there are. Studies have shown that when you walk into, say, a house or to buy a car, you instantly know whether this is for you or not. Same as a partner. You have an instant knowing, like when you're dating, instant knowing. And that instant knowing is like an energy reaction in your body. Your intuition will tell you within the first 3 seconds, yes or no. Well, what humans do is we waste time. We analysis to paralysis. This house has 3 bedrooms, but the bathrooms are on the other side of the house. I don't think it could work. And they ignore that initial gut that it's the perfect home. Right. And they do, and they can, and I think a lot of people can relate to this. I know people, when we go out for dinner, they'll spend half an hour to an hour deciding what they want to eat. And there's no judgment. Don't hear it that way, but your body knows. You don't have to think. We're overthinkers in our society. We come up with lists and this and that. And it's like, so one of the reasons you'll want to wake up your intuition, saves time. Straight up, you have more time. And then also you'll have the guidance, right? It's like, I'm on my path, I'm not on my path. Do I want this? Do I not want that? Right? That having your spirit speak to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week makes life so much easier. We don't have to think. We have a whole society based on thinking, which is exhausting. So now how you open your intuition, I often tell this story, so I'll make it really quick. I luckily had been practicing yoga for about a decade at this point, very regularly, and meditating at this point of my journey. I'd gotten on a plane and went to Hawaii to study intuition with a teacher I just heard of online. Like, this teacher, click. And that's just what I do. I don't tend to, I'm not an analysis to process girl. I just go, okay, this feels right, go. So I show up at this retreat. There were 800 people. This is how long ago? Probably 15 years ago, give or take. She doesn't run these retreats anymore. Show up at this retreat for 5 days. Click, off I go. Didn't research this woman at all. Got there. First thing, she gets on stage. I didn't realize she was so famous. There were 800 people in this audience. Okay, whatever. I just spent, now I'm up to like $5,000, $10,000 because flight, time off of work, not that I need childcare because my husband took care of our kid, whatever. She gets on stage and she says, you're all here to learn intuition. She says, I can't help you if you're not meditating. I'm like, phew, right? I'm like, I'm 10 grand in now, right? So what I would say to everybody, it's kind of a funny story, but the reason I tell that story is because the one thing that will wake up your intuition is meditation. The most important thing, because what meditation does is it moves your crazy thoughts out of the way. And then you can become quieter. People always say to me, there's a world outside of your thoughts. There is. And when and you don't have to do it all the time. I mean, God, my mind races. But having that skill to become the observer of your thoughts and breathe the thoughts away to create a quiet space is the thing that brings in your intuition, because your intuition is firing all the time. But if the mind is firing, how I describe to people is intuition is like this quiet, like my sticky notes, it's this quiet voice back here that doesn't go like this. That's our mind. It's quiet. But what we have to do is we have to quiet the mind, and then this can come in. And it's there all the time. So yeah.
Love that explanation, because it's all about which is what I love about meditation. It really allows you to be present. Right. And like you said, to just be able to right away know, okay, click, this is where I need to go. This is where I need to be. You don't have to, run through all the why and not and this and that and just go for it. And it's absolutely beautiful. So, and I would say, as you were talking about, even relationship, looking back, I know that my first nudge was the right one. But then you waste time and months and what's not. So yes, I could have saved a lot of heartache and what's not. But at the same time, it was part of the growing pains, growing lessons, right?
Totally. It
But
always
for
is.
everything, I look at my I'm an event planner, event manager in my day job, and I know that the more I work on my intuition, or at least I should say, being present, doing my meditation, letting my intuition come in, I am so much more efficient at my job, most definitely. And I just know. And it's hard it's hard sometimes for people to understand that, because for those who need the more rational, um, framework, it's hard for them to understand. How do you just know? Well, I just know because it's something I work on a daily basis, right? It's almost like a muscle that you just work on.
Exactly what it is. It's just a muscle. Yeah.
Exactly. And so could you also go into, because some people might be, okay, I'm feeling this, but is it my intuition or is it just, what is it? How do you know when it's a feel versus a real guidance from your intuition?
So there's something called false guidance versus real guidance. I'm going to pull this up just for some listeners if they want to see. So I co-wrote this book called You Don't Look Psychic, and this is and it's by myself and Lynette Brown. It's on Amazon. Highly suggest it because we talk about this in the book. It's a very common question. Because a lot of people say, well, I listened to my intuition and such bad thing happened. First off, a lot of people think intuition is going to save you. That's not the role of intuition. The role of our life is to, I'm going to go here next before I answer your question. Our life is a constant journey. It's a constant journey to work through our fear-based to love, to work through our stories to heal. So some people think if I wake up my intuition, then I'll have this like golden road to gold. And that's not how it works. Okay, so people often look at their guide. They say, I was really trusting my intuition, this bad thing happened. And in my world, there's no such thing as a bad thing. Just I need to say that first. Okay. Now, but there is a difference between what's called true guidance and false guidance. This is also where people get mixed up. False guidance is very loud, like, you got to do this or else you're an idiot. That's false guidance. True guidance is order the cheesecake, order the cheesecake, order the cheesecake. It's soft and repetitive, The way we describe in the book, true guidance is change your tires, change your tires, change your tires, change your tires. False guidance is, you're an idiot, God damn it, go to God, and you can really tell the difference the more you meditate, okay? False guidance is from fear and it's from ego. There's nothing wrong. True guidance is very soft and repetitive and gentle and loving. You're on your path, you're on your path, you're on your path. You haven't made a mistake, you haven't made a mistake, but the mind is like, you made a mistake. So really learning to listen to it, because life is so much easier when you do. So, yeah.
Totally. And we do get those nudges, right? It's knock, knock, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. But again, it takes presence, right? We're so busy with so much right now. It really takes presence, which meditation teaches you, so that you can hear those nudges. And a lot of times it could be not even just, if you don't hear it, it could be someone, it could be a billboard, it could be, a phone call or just a conversation you're having, and you're having the message being given to you at that time as well.
Exactly.
And so the other things when we touch on intuition is all about the clairs. We hear about clairvoyance, clairsentience. Some of the people in the audience may have never heard about it. So can you a little bit go into to those and what they are?
So the clairs are the way non-physical talks to us. Okay, so the most common, and I'll go through the 4 clairs. The most common clair is clairsentience. 70% of people, it's their primary clair. What is their primary clair? So we have access to all 4 of these, which I will go through, all 4 ways of the intuition to come in. But one is our dominant one. Okay, and that one that's the dominant one, fine. And like I said, 70% of people have clairsentience as their dominant. But we have access to the other ones. You just have to open them up. So clairsentience is feeling. Right now on the planet, almost everybody, if you sat in front of Starbucks and interviewed people, 3 out of 4 people would say they've had goosebumps, they've had a gut feeling before. That's clairsentience. Got it? So if that's your wake, so clairsentience is my primary, which is why I had chronic pain. Okay, because I would feel like everything, right? Mm-hmm. So clairsentience is one way. Clairvoyance is to actually see pictures. Okay, now I try to do it in order and frequency. Clairvoyance and claircognizance, in terms of frequency in the planet as being the primary, it's clairvoyance and claircognizance. You can flip them; they're about the same. So clairsentience is the most dominant on the planet to feel. Clairvoyance is to see. Clairvoyance is a lot easier to see pictures, to see things, or to see symbols. Clairvoyance is very common on the planet as a dominant one too. A lot of people have dreams or visions. That's clairvoyance. Claircognizance is to know. Okay. And so the reason claircognizance can be difficult for people is because we're chronic thinkers. Claircognizance is when your mind is quiet and out of nowhere comes a thought. And I remember the first time this happened to me, I used to run. And when I would run, I remember this happening, like exactly where I was running. Out of nowhere came a thought, pay your hydro bill. And sure enough, I hadn't paid my hydro bill. This is before iPhones, before I could check. And so I had to go run home out of a frenzy going, oh my God, right? And I got on the computer and I was like, oh my God, I haven't played. And I don't think even computers are around. I think I have to call. Like, I'm old and joke when I say that. They have to call the hydro company and say, guys, there was a time before computers. And I sure enough, I hadn't paid. But that's claircognizance. When your mind is quiet and in comes the thought. Okay. Clairaudience is the least common in terms of percentage on the planet, in terms of primary. That's to hear. That's to actually hear a voice that says XXY, XXY. Now, clairaudience doesn't just show up as a voice. A lot of people have had the experience that they're muddled and they get in the car and they turn a song on the radio and that song has a message. That's clairaudience. That's the universe giving you a message through a song. Or you're having a bad day and you're sitting at a coffee shop and then somebody next to you says something and it's like, oh, relief. That's clairaudience. That's the universe giving you a message. So all of these are how universe gives you a message, right? The universe knows you haven't paid your hydro bill. They're waiting for your mind to get quiet to tell you, right? And so those are the 4 clairs: feeling, seeing, knowing, and hearing. And everybody has a primary, the one that they're born with. And most people is the goosebumps, their sensations. Though for other people can be the other ones. So, yeah.
And can someone, like, let's say someone is more clairvoyant, for example, but they want to become more clairaudient. Is there a way that they can work through this?
Yes. We talk a lot about it in the book. There's many different techniques to open your other clairs. So when I started, hopefully this helps some of your listeners, my clairsentience, like I shared, was my primary, and it's always active. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, it's what created chronic pain for me. Got it? So what my coach taught me to do, and we talk about it in the book, how do you decrease clairsentience and increase claircognizance or clairvoyance? That's because she said to me when it was my first year of coaching as an intuitive, and she said she would ask me things like, so tell me how it's going, what are you doing, tell me about a session. And I was purely using clairsentience. I wasn't using any of my other clairs. And she would say, okay, I said, but yeah, I'm so tired. Like, and I feel this in somebody's body and whatever I would say. And she said, she noted, okay, you're just using your clairsentience. I'm like, yeah, what am I supposed to do, right? And she said, but what about your other clairs? Because I'd already been trained. And I said, I don't know how to open those. I mean, I saw other people. And then she showed me how to, again, we go through the process in the book. And a lot of them are meditative, right? Where you actually ask your guides to see. And you have to release the fear of seeing. And so as I did that, it didn't happen overnight. But as I did that over a few months, my exhaustion from doing sessions decreased because I wasn't so tired, right? So you can open your other clairs and decrease other clairs. For example, when I go to the grocery store or I'm going to a concert this weekend, I'm going to close down my clairsentience. I don't want to feel everything. I'd rather know or see or hear. So I just tell my guides, lower that, raise that. That makes sense. But
no, it totally does. So because as you were explaining it, what I was seeing, it's almost like a dial of, we have 100%, right? Yeah. And so within that 100%, you can tune it down or tune one down, tune one up, and just work. Because if you go outside of 100%, is it then maybe a little bit overwhelming for your system? Basically,
it's way too much. If you're like, crank it to 200, you're going to be exhausted, right?
Exactly.
You have 100 to work with, and you have these dials, 10%, 20%, 40, what do you want, right? Mm-hmm. And automatically, if I don't adjust my dials, my clairsentience is usually stuck at 80. Used to be 100. So I have to be very conscious. Okay, I'm going to lower that. So right now in this video, I am transmitting love to everybody who's listening. Mm-hmm. And so that's my clairsentience. And I'm also using my clairvoyance to open your third eyes. It's just something I'm doing. And that's just something I do. And, so right now and then after this, I have a session in person. So I'll turn my clairsentience down. It's just, takes 2 seconds. I can turn that down. So, yeah.
Yes. And it's it's a practice, right? I mean, for you,
Yeah.
it's just automatic now. So it's something that you can definitely work through. And like you said, you mentioned in your book, which I will share with the audience afterwards as well, because I think it's a great tool. And that was, as you were talking through it, it just reminded me of one of my clients who is quite clairvoyant to the point where she sees too much, and she
Right.
doesn't know how to tune, because sometimes it can be scary when you see too much,
Okay.
right?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I'm just thinking about this client. I would definitely refer to your book to help with that process as well. And it's so great to have those tools, right? Because as we open up for someone who's not prepared for it, it can be a little bit overwhelming.
Totally. So for that woman, I keep seeing if she would know, it's easier than to see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, just tell them, I want to know. And then you have to practice the knowing. You have to practice, okay, in this session, I want to know, not see. Right. And then as your clairs open, they all kind of come at once, but they don't have to be overwhelming in the feeling or the seeing, right? You have control of that. So yeah.
Fantastic.
Love that.
All right. Is there anything else you would like to add to in terms of intuition? Because I would love for you for the audience to get a taste of the work that you do through meditation. But before we get to that, anything else you'd like to add for the audience?
Yeah, I'd say one or two or three things. And so hopefully this helps somebody. Intuition is play. Like it's play. It's fun. It's a game. Don't take it seriously. It's just fun. The other thing that's really loud for somebody listening, we have some very serious people listening to this, and that's really cool. A lot of people want to get 100% on intuition. If you look at some studies, even the best intuitives in the world, the best psychics in the world are 85 to 90% accurate. Now, and you're going, oh my God, it's only 85%. If I was a basketball player and they took me into the NBA and I shot 8.5 out of 10 baskets in, I'd be a multi-millionaire 10 times over. Okay. So what I see with a lot of people who are intuitive are also highly perfectionists and highly like, I gotta get it right. Guys, if 8.5 times out of 10, I'm accurate, that's very high. Does that make sense? Very high. It's actually kind of funny. Last night I was sitting with my son. He was telling me about something at school. And he said they did this survey out of 16 kids. And he said, guess, Mom, I have raised this kid with this work. He said, guess, Mom, what was the survey out of 16 kids? What said yes? What said no? I said, well, 12 said no, 4 said yes. He goes, how did you get that right? I'm like laughing so hard. I'm like, I raised you. And like, he's like, but how did you know? Right. And it was just like, well, in that case, I was in my 85 to 90% range. Got it? If I had said 5 and 15 or whatever, if I had gotten it wrong, whatever. Do you know what I mean? But what we do is we take it so seriously. The more you can play and have fun, it's a game, it's a dance, it's a gift. It makes life a lot easier. So I hope that helped.
No, totally. That was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
So now if we'd like to jump into a little meditation, a little treat for the audience, that would be amazing.
Awesome. Don't worry, this isn't too long. So go ahead and close your eyes, guys. Close your eyes and just settle into your breathing. Slow breath in, long breath out. Inhaling and exhaling. Belly rises and belly falls. As a group, exhale together and inhale for 1, 2, 3. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale for 1, 2, 3. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep a low, slow flow of breath in and out going as you go through this process with me. On your next breath, invite yourself to the top of the staircase. As we descend down this staircase, one step at a time, with every step down, you are releasing fear. And as you release fear, you let in love. So on your first step down, maybe with your right foot, imagine leaving the base of your foot is fear. Maybe fear of your intuition, fear of life, fear of what people think of you, whatever. And as that fear leaves your body, imagine more love entering. And just breathe with the low, slow, low. On your next breath, see your left foot go down the step. Again, fear leaving, love entering. And at your own pace, with your own thought processes, go down each step. Each step, more fear leaves the body and more love enters. As you descend to the bottom of the step, I want to say something before we go deeper into this meditation. The only thing that blocks intuition is fear. On your next few breaths, invite yourself into the very base of the steps. You're now at the landing at the bottom. And once you're here, you see this incredible, beautiful place with peace. Maybe everything about this place brings peace and relaxation. So fill this room with everything you need. Maybe there's paintings. Maybe there's a mini waterfall, a beautiful plant, gorgeous smell, the perfect temperature. See this room beautifully set for you, and just breathe. Out of the corner of your eye, you see someone or something approaching you. This is your wise guide, your higher self. Invite them in. Intuitively, you know that there's nothing scary about this experience. As your wise guide approaches you, you start to notice their presence. Now, some of you will feel them. Others of you will see them. You might just know they're there. Or you might hear their presence. And just breathe. As they approach you, you can see they have a message for you. Simply sit back, be present with your breath, and allow the message to come. What you will begin to notice is that message is of love, of connection, and of support. So as my voice gets quiet for the next few breaths, allow yourself to receive the message and just keep breathing. As your breath deepens, you may have some questions for your wise guide yourself. Feel free to ask. Just be present with this. You can't get this wrong. You can't get this right. Just be present to it. At a certain point, you know this is complete. Take a moment to thank your wise guide for showing up. Take a moment for thanking yourself. Promising yourself to come back here whenever or as often as you can. After a few more breaths, when you're ready, roll your shoulders back, stretch your neck, maybe stretch your arms whenever you're ready. Very slowly bring your awareness back into this room, into your body, and gently open your eyes. Coming back. Welcome back, guys.
That's so amazing. I went deep, actually. It's amazing. And well, I had received a lot of messages, but one message was that to use this tool every morning when I wake up. You know, I really tune in with my higher self that way every morning, because then it can also set the trajectory of your day as well. 100%. You know, so 100%. Or at night for some people if they prefer to, but for me it was
100%.
Yes. Absolutely beautiful. Sorry, I'm still in that.
Love it. Take your time. Take your time.
Beautiful, peaceful, and I do I meditate every day, but I've never done this version actually, and I really love it. So that would be part of my toolkit.
I love that.
Absolutely beautiful. So, can you, as I'm coming back, slowly, could you tell the audience a little bit more about, the work that they can do with you? I know that you have a beautiful gift for the audience, but also, how they can find out more about how they can work with you if they would like to.
So my website is drdivi.com, drdivi.com. Come hang out there. You'll see what I have to offer. I'll share what I have to offer in a second. Let me tell you about the gift I gifted you guys. So it's a 4-part video series called Energy 101. It's fantastic. It's about 4 or 5 hours long. It's from a live class that I taught years ago, and it's all about energy. Everybody goes, I know energy. I get it. But what it is, it teaches you how to build momentum, break momentum. People are like, why did this bad thing happen to me? When you start to listen to these classes, you'll really start to see how we create our lives. It's all about universal law, energy, law of attraction, how to create your energy field, how to allow in the things you want. So it's Energy 101. Have fun. It's about 4 to 6 hours long, 4 or 5 hours long, and it's fun. So I'll tell you, it's fun. The second thing in terms of how to find me, work with me. So you can always do like a drop-in session with me for one-to-one coaching if you choose to, for an intuitive session. You're more than welcome to do that. You can book them online. I also offer a 20-minute free introduction if you want to just get to know me and see if this type of work is for you, on my calendar online. I really direct clients to my workshops, mostly because I am blessed to be very busy. It's a great thing, but I don't have the capacity to take clients regularly for like regular coaching anymore. So if clients really want to dive into the work with me, I encourage you to do classes with me. I teach 2 main classes. One is called the Intuitive Coach Training Program, which is a 9-month journey into wake up your intuition and potentially becoming an intuitive coach. And the second thing I teach is mind, body, spirit classes, which is all about shadow work, energy work, figuring out kind of like, who and what you are. There's a fair amount of energy in that. A fair amount of intuition in that, but it's not like intuitive coach training. We drum that versus mind, body, spirit is more about self-healing, relationships, your mind, your emotions, your energy with a touch of intuition, whereas intuitive coach training is like all of that plus a lot of intuition. So those are 2 different classes I teach. So you'll see it on my website. Can't miss them. But yeah, that's me.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for the beautiful gift. And again, I'll share the link with the audience. And could you quickly show again your book,
sure.
Just so that the audience can see it as
Here.
well? I'll be getting it myself.
Yeah, it's an awesome book by myself and Lynette Brown. So if you can find it on Amazon. So yeah, it's very big. The first half of the book is, stuff like I taught today, the clairs. They'll talk about universal laws. It's like a book. And the second half of the book are meditations and processes. So ideally you record it into your phone or whatever, and then listen to it and then kind of take yourself through your process. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Divi. That was an amazing session. And the audience, I'm sure, learned a lot today. And thank you for your beautiful gift.